Hi guys, Nomis here. Welcome back to episode 5 of this Subway Builder series, where I'm recreating the New York City Subway. So in the last episode I did the 4 and 5 train, and then I started a little bit on the 6 train as well. You can see I have what is called the Lexington Avenue line, I guess it's called. And we have the 6 train going all the way down to Brooklyn Bridge City Hall, which is the terminus in Manhattan. And then just did this first station in the Bronx just to have like a starting point. This is, I think the station name is wrong, but I'll go ahead and change that after I've done the stations. So I think today the plan is to finish the 6 train, get in the local and the express, and then also do the 7 train. And yeah, I know it's kind of like the meme, the 6 and 7, but I'm not doing it for that. It's just a convenient order to do the lines, so please don't comment that on the video. But anyways, we can just go ahead and look at the subway map first of all. We can see here, I think I want to just get in like the terminus in the Bronx, which you can see here is Pelham Bay Park. You can also see some of the local express. So we saw in last episode that in Manhattan the 6 train is what's going local and the 4 and 5 is express, but you have the 6 train express which has some express stops in the Bronx. So you see here the first few stops, they both stop at all the stations, but then it's the 6 express skips quite a bit of stations on the way before it joins the Lexington Avenue line in Manhattan, where it goes going all local. And we can see the 7 train. The 7 train is interesting because it's one of the few lines which is not interlined. And you can see here it's convenient to do that now because it's gonna meet up with a bunch of the other lines which were all built. Like you can see here it's meeting up and almost completing the mega station at Grand Central 42nd Street, going under where the 4, 5 and 6 train already goes, and also meeting up at the Times Square 42nd Street station over here. So I'll get to that after building out the 6 train. So first I also want to see where does the 6 train go. I think that is over here. You have Pelham Bay Park. You see here is an elevated station, so that's important. And you see here, like many of the other lines, it has 3 tracks for express, but because, as I discussed earlier, it doesn't really work with the 3-track layout in Subway Builder because it doesn't have bidirectional tracks. So for this part here in the Bronx, I'm just gonna do 4 tracks, just so that I can actually have express stops. And you can try to see here, it's right by this I guess highway here. I'm just trying to see which streets. So you have this Coblin Avenue. I think we can find that. And the next thing I want to check out is where does it go into elevated. That's also an important part. We have to go quite a bit back here. In this part here, like next to Bronx River. This is a nice gentle slope. This should be pretty easy to recreate. It's a nice and open space to elevate it compared to some of the other really tight spaces which have been kind of frustrating. This is a nice change of pace, something that looks very doable in the game. But first I want to see if I can actually find out where the terminus for the 6 train is. So let's get ready. Heavy metro as should be quad tracked, and then should be, I think we're just going to do 5 meters because that's the lowest you can do elevated in the game. And then we need to find Pelham Bay Park. I think roughly here is good. We have Wilkinson Avenue. And then it looks like above there, so here on Westchester Avenue. And it looks like it's kind of just bordering to this this big expressway here. It looks like from the station there's an overpass which goes over into the park. So what we can do is just try to line it up with the road. The station here. Yes, I think that's pretty good. Then we have the terminus. Then I'm gonna find where it goes into elevated from underground, and I think that is across the Bronx River. So it looks like here, almost by Bruckner Boulevard, and then along, this is called Whitlock Avenue. It's a little bit below Lowell Street. This is one of the ends. And then we need to, in this gap here, we need to get it down to underground. And yeah, I think that's pretty good. So now we have the connection here, and we can pretty easily do the rest of the underground, and then we need to continue it from here, which is, what is this called? It's called 3rd Avenue, 138th Street. Let's just change that now so we have it correctly. And I do believe that it's after this station here that we go from double tracked. So you can see here on the track map, actually it looks like this station here has 3 tracks, so it should be a 4-track in the game, and then it's just 4 tracks standing in for the triple track for the rest of this until all the way until here. I actually think I'm gonna change it. I think I will actually do this as just a 2-track terminus, because then we have 1 track for each of the lines, the 6 and the 6 local and the 6 express. So I think that will be fine actually. And this is actually now only a double track, so that's a mistake that we need to fix. Yeah, I think I just need to remove the route, and then we can fix this and then put it back later. Okay, so now I deleted the station here and just took off the route. And then let's see, trying to get in the station here. Yes, I actually did end up doing it at -10 because there was some problems with the buildings here and demolishing, so it was just easier that way. But then I think for the rest we're gonna try to get it back to probably -4 or 5, just to have it simple cut and cover. So if we go back to the track map here, we can just see from 3rd Avenue and 38th Street until Pelham Bay Park, which we already built, and I'm just going to be building all the stations along here and the tracks, and then I'm just going to continue it in quad tracked for the rest of it. And then of course we already have done the transition from underground to elevated, so it's going to be pretty simple. And then I'll just change out the end station for a double tracked one, and then have the local and the express 6 train just terminate on each track. Okay, so with all of that put in, the cost is now at 1.67 billion, and we have about 2.2 billion, which is perfect. So we can just build it straight away. Now we have built out, should be the entirety of the 6 train. You can just hit build blueprints. And give it a second, and there we see it being built. I still need to fix all of these station names, but I just want to talk a bit about the 6 train when we put it back in. I've been trying to figure out like how it works with the local and express, and it seems like I said before, it only runs express really in the Bronx, where it skips some stations on this which is now the quad-tracked section. And from what I can see, the express only runs peak direction rush hour. So for now, I think we're just gonna have the express at high demand, and I'm not sure exactly how much. Maybe a little bit less than the local, and then we can see how that works. Okay, so now I have just been going around changing all the stations to the right name, and then I put in 2 different 6 train lines. So I have the 6 and the 6 express, so you can see here. If we go further along, we see only the 6 local. And for frequency, I'm just testing out. I have 14, 15, 20, 30 on the local 6, and then I have the 6 express on about 15-minute frequency only during high demand. So I think for now, we can just let it run for like a day or 2. And you can see here, this is, I forgot to see that at the start, but this blank one is the 6 train as it was before we did this extension. And you can see it goes through some really dense areas, especially around here. It's gonna be hopefully hitting a lot more people riding this. And then maybe we can also see some increase on the other lines which interline with it. We look here, you have the 4 and 5 is at the top with 207,000, 181,000, and the 6 train was 117,000. So let's just run it for about 2 days just to let it kind of feel out and let people get used to it, and then can also hopefully make some money, which we will need when we start building out the 7th train. So I'll be back in 2 days, and then we can see how the new lines are doing. Okay, so now I'll let the game run for about 2 days in game. Look at the ridership, it looks to be almost exactly the same, which is weird. Maybe some of the red lines have gone up, but I haven't done anything, so I'm not really sure why. I would have thought this would increase the ridership quite a bit. So I'm not really sure why that is happening, but maybe the system just needs to have all of the lines interlined, built out to have like the full effect. But I'm not gonna question it at this point. I'm just trying to rebuild, and we're still making a lot of profit. You see, we're almost up to 1.6 billion again, so that's gonna come in really handy now, because I think I'm just gonna go straight onto building out the 7th train. In Manhattan, it looks like it's only double tracked, and you see here Hudson Yards 34th Street is a terminus in Manhattan, and this is right by a pretty interesting area. If you don't know, Hudson Yards is like a new development from some years back, which was built on top of a functional rail yard. They covered like half of it. It's like skyscrapers with residential offices and a lot of commercial. There's like a whole mall there. Pretty interesting area. If we go over here, first let's see here. So it does go under. Looks like it goes under most of the other lines. You can see here we already have the 4, 5, 6 and the 1, 2, 3. So it will have some connections with those lines, of course. Especially here at Grand Central and Times Square, I talked about before. And it does look like over here. So it looks like here. It seems like this is where in the Queensway goes into more than double tracked. Here it's also triple tracked like many of the lines in New York, but I'm gonna do this quad tracked. I think what we need to do here then is somewhere around here we need to go from double track to quad tracked, and I guess for the rest of it just keeps being local and express, and then actually has 3 tracks on the terminus, so I'm gonna do a quad track here. This is also good because it's gonna be really helpful if we extend it out further in the future. And there's one interesting station here, which is Queensboro Plaza. You can see it has this really weird design. It's like a stacked station, and I think it connects with what is it? The N and the W. And I do believe that, I'm not sure how it works, but I think like the same direction is on the same level. So like going one direction it's on the upper level, and then the other direction is going is on the lower level, if that makes sense. I'm trying to make sense of it myself, but we can look at it when we get to there. That's going to be one of the more interesting stations to build. I think that I want to start with the terminus, both ends. So you see Hudson Yard, that's going to be here, 34th Street, if you can find it. It's West 34th Street. Okay, so yeah, here we can see this is probably where the Hudson Yards is. And we have here, this is the 34th Street, so we're going to line up with that. That's going to be, it's a double tracked actually. And let's see, I think we can do this at 5 minus 5. terminus for now is over in Flushing Main Street. That's all the way over in Queens. If I can remember, it's a bit hard sometimes to find it in the game. Here we have it. This is Flushing Main Street. That's along Roosevelt Boulevard, where it connects up to Main Street. Here, now we have Roosevelt Avenue. So that should be a quad tracked station, just because it's triple tracked in real life, but of course we want it to be quad tracked in the game. And if I'm looking at the Google Maps, it actually goes elevated for most of Queens, but it dips underground right before we get into this station here. So I think while we're over here, I'm gonna try to get that done. I think some testing on this, so it is possible, but you have to be really precise, like right on here, because you see this is the space we have to elevate. I'm trying to just line it up as close as I can, and then we need to get up to +5. I did a mistake. We need to start at -4 here. So let's do that again. -4. Just following along the road, and then we need to zoom in and just be like right on there. Try to line it up. I wonder where the cutoff is, if it actually is this arrows or if it's like this round thing, but I digress. +5, can we... There we have it. Oh, it always feels good when you struggle like that and actually finally gets it. Get it? Yeah. So that's a bit more complex than the other one we did today, but now we have the transition from elevated to underground, and hopefully in the future we can extend this, but it'll be interesting to see today how the current 7 train is holding up. And I think now, because the next one, which is more complex, is gonna be Queensboro Plaza. Okay, so before I get into this, I'm just looking at this track map and trying to make sense of it, because if you look here, there's some really strange things happening here. It does look like this is a 7 train. The upper level is one going westwards and then eastwards into Queens, and then on lower level we have the tracks which is going back towards Manhattan. And it looks like it's the same thing here for the N and the W. But then there's some tracks here which splits apart, which I think that might be the R train, which if we go over, yes, it does look like that is. So the R train splits apart from the N and W here before Queensboro Plaza. So maybe we should just get those tracks in. We want to be on here on Queens Plaza S. Square is a square. I'm not sure what the S stands for, but we want to be aligned with 27th Street and Crescent Street, so around here. So this would be the upper level for the 7 train. Then let's see this. Oh, I think the structure for the station is part of it, so we need to actually demolish it, which is unfortunate, but so what we have to do, because we need a station here. So that would be for the, what were they called? The NW. And then we have, I think we have this as the lower for 7. And then this, no wait. Actually they are like right below, so I don't know how we can, I think if you do it right below it's just gonna be way too complex, so I think instead let's just do them in the middle like this. And just pretend that they are like right below each other. Say to about here. And here we can start split apart, so we have this going that direction. Should be going up. And then curve around and meet up with this here, going here, so this would be the lower level for the 7 train. They meet up back there. They disappeared at some point. The R train splits apart from the NW and then dips on the ground, while the NW keeps elevated after the bridge. But it's kind of hidden underneath the... If I'm looking at Google Maps, it's kind of hidden underneath the bridge, or the roads on the bridge. Okay, so these actually have directions. So for the station tracks I also need to build them in the right direction. I think I'm just gonna simplify this a little bit, because I can't really make sense properly of the way it's done in real life. It's a bit hard to see in. So I'm gonna do this at +9, that direction, and then hopefully looks like that goes in correctly. So this should be this at 5. And there's another bridge structure that we need to demolish, but I guess it's fine. And now, I think while I'm over here, I just want to get this merged correctly. I think this is like the bridge structure, so maybe this is around where it starts to go down. It looks like it curves about where this like weird like square about is happening. So let's do a single track here and get it up to +5. Can we do that? There. Then this one goes smoothly in. Actually this should probably be more than +5, just get it a bit higher for the bridge, so it makes sense. Yeah, let's keep it there. But this one might be a bit harder, because I'm not really sure where there's a space to get it down. Okay, so it lets me do that. There we go, and then I need to get this one off. Spread it smoothly, okay. I guess. I mean, I don't think you're ever gonna get it like exactly as real life, but I think this is pretty close. The 7 train goes here into Queens Boulevard. That needs to be +5 tracks parallel. I think it's about here that it kind of transitions into more than 2 tracks. So let's just say we go to quad track around here. Then connect the middle. Then the single, just connect it smoothly in like that. Yeah, I think that's right. So they curve up Northern Boulevard, which is here. So let's just give them a track here. That's roughly there. Can we connect it smoothly in? Yes, we can. Okay, so now we just have the path of them, and everything around here makes some kind of sense, I guess. I don't know. Oh, this whole build is a bit confusing, but yeah, I think we got it there. So now what I want to look at next is where the 7 train goes underground again before it goes back into Manhattan. So we are here at, I think this is like right next to the approach before Sunnyside Yards, and you see around here it dips into a tunnel. That's 49th Avenue. Then it's following underneath 50th Avenue before it goes onto East 42nd Street, and then of course down to Hudson Yards. So what we need to do now is just find the exact spot on the map in the game. I think it's right around here actually. If we can go in between those buildings here, I think that would be perfect, and then we just follow along here and then we curve into, where is this, Davis Street, yeah. Okay, so I need to start at -4 first. That needs to be parallel, so angle it like this. Then we want to be +5. There, okay. Now you want to go up Davis Street. Looks smooth enough, and then where do we continue down, crossing 21st Street and then into 50th Avenue. Okay, let's just redo this. And start at -10 for a tunnel. We want to get up to +5. That's a lot smoother. And then I think we're gonna go back to, actually we can keep at -10 because we need to cross under the water here. Actually no, we can go back to -9 at least for the station. That should be Vernon Boulevard. Just crossing over here, let's do -9 for the station. We should have enough room. Just 1 meter difference. That's because then if we build at -10, then it's a lot more expensive to our station. Then we can go back to, actually I don't think we need to be that deep here. It's -4 it says. Wait, no. Oh, I think it might be some kind of bug. It says -4, but it's actually deeper. The 12 we need to be at. Okay, that's fine. We have more than enough room to get down to -12 here. Yeah, it is a bit hard to see here, but I'm gonna say we're crossing under. You see, it looks like a platform kind of touches right there on the 4, 5, and 6 train. So let's do that. This is minus 21. Okay, so actually we can just. Okay, so it is actually above then. I think we'll just do a -9 station. Let's try to align it here. And let's see, for this station, this is -4. Okay, so I think we'll do. Just keep -9 until we get here, which is, I think, also -5, yeah. So now we have the most important and the most complex things set up. So for here in the Queens, we're just gonna keep going along the quad tract, get all the stations, and then here we just have to get into the last station and then get this connection going underground. Then I'll just off camera just rename all the stations, and then we can go back to see when I built it out. So I'll be right back. Okay, so if you zoom out there now, we can see I built the entire 7th train, and it's quite a substantial line now, and it's gonna cost about 2 billion. It would probably cost 10 times that if it was built today with like the real New York prices, but yeah, we actually almost have the amount. We have 1.57. Of course, We want to have a bit more than that just to be able to buy all the trains. So I think if we let it run for about a little over a day, we have quite a good profit now, like sitting at around 600 million a day. So if we wait until the end of, we're at 54 now, so if we wait until the end of day 55, because then we can start the trains running like exactly at midnight just to get a full 2 days to see how it works. Okay, so I let it run for about a day now. We're like 7 minutes into day 56 and it's actually costing 2.06 billion because it was a station that I forgot to build this court square here. So now we should have all of them and they should all have the correct names. And we can just go ahead and build blueprints. There we have the 7th train, and for doing anything I just want to actually save. So I've been looking a bit at the 7th train and it looks like the express portion is only here in Queens. So it looks like it's after Queensboro Plaza, which makes sense because that's where it stops being just double tracked. I'm trying to look at, it seems like it's skipping only a few stations. Yeah, I'm looking at the subway map, it seems like, yeah, I think I got a sense of what it's skipping, and it seems like it's the same as the 6 Express, it's peak direction express as it says on the subway map. So how I'm gonna handle that is I'm gonna have the trains only running during a rush hour in both directions because we only have the quad track set up. So because this is separate, it's gonna be pretty easy setting up the stations because there's no shenanigans with the interlining, so I can just click through it. I don't need to do manual ordering like I'll have to do on some lines. So I'm just gonna set up those lines and have some, let's see what frequency we can get with the trains we can afford now. And then we'll be back to see the thing running. Yeah, so now you can see we have both the 7 local and the 7 express set up in the route, and the 7 express doesn't actually skip that many stops. I guess there's a few here. So I did only set it up just to emulate kind of how it runs in real life. I set up to run it only rush hour at high demand as it's in game. It's 20 minutes now. I think that's okay because it's also running alongside the local, which runs all the time, and I think that's fine. So before, I just want to look at the route ridership here and kind of like take a screenshot of that before we run it, and then see what this kind of does to the ridership on the whole system. I think that's good to do. And the most important thing is demand stats. Well, it's 8.7 now, but I think like 9.4 or something around there has been the highest, and hopefully it should increase by quite a bit because you see here we're hitting a lot of big population centers with this 7 train here, and a bit of workers as well along the way. Not any like huge bubbles. Well, actually here in Queens we have quite some big ones actually. This might be Long Island City, I think, close to here, which has quite a bit of some of like the newer skylines in Queens. So I'm gonna run it for about 2 days. We're at day 56 now, so I think when we get to day 57 around 6-7 PM, I think that's kind of when we can see like the peak from the whole day, and then we can look at the ridership for the whole thing. Okay, so now I've been running the game for about 2 in-game days almost, and look at demand stats. We're close to 8 PM, which is, we've kind of passed the most busy times of the day, And we're at 10.7% demand side, so definitely has gone up quite a bit. I think 9.7, 9 point something, like 0.2 or 0.4 was the highest we had before, so it's definitely gone up by quite a bit. You can see we started to get more purple and even some blue in Queens. We're getting quite deep into Queens now with the 7 train, which is really nice. You see there's still a lot more to cover in all of the city. We started to get some coverage in Manhattan, but of course it's people go into Manhattan, which is the big draw of the system. If we look at the route ridership, we can see the 7 local is at 123,000 and the 7 express is 22, so if you add those two together it's about 145,000 daily ridership, which is pretty good. All of that is just new ridership. And actually it impacted some of the other lines. It seems like most of the other lines have seen a little bit of a bump in the ridership as well. I guess that comes from transfers. I guess there's a lot of people riding the 7 train, which I guess a lot of them are going to Midtown to work, but if they want to go downtown they have to use 7 train into either Times Square or Grand Central and transfer to either the 456 or the 123 to get downtown, and I guess that accounts for some of the increased ridership on the other lines. And also if they want to go north, but I guess that's not as big of a ridership as going downtown, because that is mostly residential. So yeah, it's quite a nice increase, and it's really good to get those lines in. We have completed the 6 train and we have the 7 train with the local and express on both of them. So I think going forward now, the idea I'm having is I think I want to get started on the blue lines, which is, if we look at the subway map and we can zoom out a little bit, that is the A, C and the E. You see for quite a good chunk in Manhattan they run parallel here. I think that's a nice and it really complements what we already built, and I think those are some pretty high ridership lines. I think that will be the plan for the next few episodes, getting those built out. So yeah, anyways, if you made it to the end of this video, thank you so much for watching until the end. A like, comment and subscribe would be greatly appreciated and would help me growing the channel. So anyways, I'll throw up some short cinematics of the new lines, and then hope to see you in the next one, and have a great rest of your day.